Hello everybody, welcome to Oscar Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already, and drop a like. Officially 10K away from 100K, so help me reach that goal if you enjoy the content. Today's video, there's actually going to be 2 videos today because I overslept from getting too damn stoned the other day, so I didn't release the video that I was supposed to today, so that video is also going to come out later today, or it was supposed to go out yesterday. Whatever. There's gonna be 2 videos today and 2 videos tomorrow on this channel. That's the point I'm trying to make. But this video I want to do is basically like a catch-up where there's a couple of different small things that happen in the NBA today, or there's a couple of different stories I want to talk about, and I'm going to cover all of them. The first one, the headline one, is the Patrick Beverly trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm also going to talk about Ben Simmons and him potentially playing center, because that's something that's been talked about recently, as well as Chet Holmgren's injury. My friend Alex Hoops corrects me on that all the time, so I'm making sure I get it right. So, first things first. The Patrick Beverly trade for Taylonhorn Tucker. I think this is a win-win trade that makes sense for both sides. Taylonhorn Tucker is the exact type of player that the Utah Jazz should be looking to acquire, although personally I probably would have preferred a first-round pick. I also do believe that, and I've said this before, I do think that Taylonhorn Tucker has upside to be even like a borderline star type of player, just because of the skill set that he possesses. But the skill set that he possesses is also entirely contradictory to what the Los Angeles Lakers last year needed, and that was a guy that was capable of shooting threes and not needing the ball in his hands to be successful, and that really wasn't Taylonhorn Tucker. While Taylon was a pretty good defender and a capable cutter, overall his off-ball game was not what you wanted it to be, and he wasn't good enough on ball to justify not having the ball in the hands of Westbrook or LeBron. So just not a good fit, to put it bluntly. Jesus, I can't talk. But he is sometimes a good playmaker. It's hard to gauge because sometimes he seems to be a black hole with no vision, and the other times when he's actually allowed to dribble the ball, he'll finish the game with like 8 assists. So his playmaking is wishy-washy, but I do think there's something there that could be developed. He's a really good finisher. He's a pretty good ball handler. Even though his volume has not been crazy high, his mid-range numbers are really good. And I do believe there's a world where he can average like 18 points per game on relatively decent efficiency, play good defense, probably average like 3 or 4 assists. Is he the superstar that some Lakers fans hyped him up to be a year ago? Was he the type of prospect that you don't trade for Kyle Lowry? No, but I do believe he has potential to be like a Danilo Gallinari tier kind of player. Not the same type of player, but like on that level where he's like not really an all-star, but close-ish to it at his peak, and like a solid 18 points, a little bit more well-rounded. I don't know why I'm going with a Gallo example. Either way, my point is I think Taylonhorn Tucker can be an above-average starter given the proper situation, and I think Utah can be that proper situation because they got nothing to do but lose games and see what young guys are capable of. So he'll have his opportunity there. Someone has to shoot the ball, and it looks like it's going to be him quite a bit. Now, again, mentioning the Kyle Lowry thing, it is kind of funny that he was traded for just Patrick Beverly when, again, not a year ago, but like a year and a half ago, because I believe it was at the trade deadline of the season where they ended up losing to the Phoenix Suns in round 1, where Kyle Lowry was on the table for a trade, and they didn't do it because Taylonhorn Tucker was too good of a prospect. Also, Taylon was not a good enough prospect to justify signing him over Alex Caruso. But again, I've talked about Taylonhorn Tucker at extensive length. I even have a video on this channel talking about him. Like, the extremes of the opinions on him, it's ridiculous. Like, he is definitely not superstar tier, but he also is not fucking awful, like a lot of people have said that he is, just because they like to make fun of Lakers fans. And I think it'll be nice to see him in a situation with less pressure and less eyes on him and more opportunity and a better fit. So I'm excited from that end of things, and I don't know. I spent 5 minutes now just talking about this, and not even talking about the side of the Lakers and the player that is the primary player of the move. But that's just, I have a lot of thoughts on Taylonhorn Tucker. Patrick Beverly, yeah, he fits perfectly on any basketball team. He is exactly what any team would ask for, perfectly priced. Really good role player, hits his threes, decent enough playmaker, something can attack a closeout and finish in the paint, and a really good defender. And as the kids say, he's got that dog in him. He sometimes it's corny, and sometimes people are like, all right, Patrick, you're just fucking annoying. But he is a really good defender, and he's a pretty good leader, and overall, I think he is a very positively impactful player on just about any NBA team. Now, the thing that really comes with this move is there's a lot of rumors of the Russell Westbrook for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner trade, and it almost seemed like the Lakers are trading for a point guard because they're not going to have one soon if they trade Russell Westbrook. So I'm not going to speculate on that too much because I don't want this video to be too long, but I just will say, if they manage to turn Russ into Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, and they now have a starting lineup of Patrick Beverly, Buddy Hield, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Miles Turner, add a little bit of depth to that, and once again, the Lakers are absolutely a contender, assuming that you can just get a relatively healthy season out of the both of LeBron and AD. Or at the very least, you're confidently making the playoffs, and they'll be healthy by the time the playoffs come around. But that said, that's my thoughts on that trade. Next, I want to talk about Chet Holmgren's injury. He got injured in I don't remember what the league was. I think it was the J Crossover League, one of the many leagues that NBA players play in during the summer. And he tried to stop LeBron on the fast break and hurt his, I think it was his ankle. It was some sort of injury. It was in his foot. He tore a ligament in his foot, and they're not sure how this is going to affect his season going forward. The only thing that worries me, and that a lot of people were saying, was is that because of his frame? I am of the opinion that players who are skinny get scrutinized for it way more than they should be. Players who are skinny are routinely fine. Like, Kevin Garnett was a twig. Kevin Durant is a twig. Anthony Davis was a twig, and then he gained a bunch of weight and got built and got bigger, and he was worse for it. So no, I don't think that's necessarily how it works. I understand, he can be physically bullied by some players who are bigger than him, but it doesn't automatically discount him as potentially being a good player. Those circumstances are not so common now. We're not talking about the NBA in the 80s. We don't have to worry about him getting elbow in his chest from Kevin McHale, every night. It's not a big deal. So to that end, I hope that this doesn't get a bunch of people going. And I've already seen a few people see, told you Chet couldn't survive the physicality of the NBA. Runs into LeBron James once and immediately gets injured. That's such a simplistic and childish way to view it, and I already know it's going to happen. But it's definitely not good to have a potentially serious injury happening going into a rookie's career. Especially as a big man, because big men are notoriously have lower body and foot stuff, regardless of if they're skinny or not. So hopefully that does not end up being a reoccurring issue. Last thing I'm going to talk about is Ben Simmons and him potentially playing center. For those of you in the know, I actually made a 2K series back for 2K21, I believe it was, where I put Ben Simmons at center and traded Joel Embiid and looked at what a team built around Ben Simmons could look like. In hindsight, that series was unrealistic because it was presuming that Ben Simmons had a ceiling that I no longer believe that he has. Back then when I made that series, I was oh yeah, he could be like Giannis with better playmaking. Don't believe anything close to that anymore now. I'm pretty sure I won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same year with Ben Simmons in that my league, and eventually won a championship and finals MVP, and he averaged a triple-double in the finals. I was believing that Ben Simmons was that guy. But I actually kind of just stumbled into playing him at center because I realized that after all the moves I had made in the first offseason, we didn't really have one. So I was like, I guess he's playing center, and it turned out to be great in that series. But since then, I've actually always been fascinated by the prospect of Ben Simmons playing center because I was like, actually, could be a very unique experience. And as soon as he was traded to the Brooklyn Nets, I was like, okay, looks like we're going to see that happen because there's no way that they're going to start him next to Nicholas Claxton. Like, it makes sense to start him next to a center who can space the floor, or a center who's so fucking good, obviously you're going to play him, like Joel Embiid. But you're not going to start Nick Claxton or whatever. I don't think you're going to start LaMarcus Aldridge. Is LaMarcus even on the team anymore? Did he get re-signed? I don't remember. Either way, and he didn't play in the playoffs, so I don't think it would matter. Either way, floor spacing wise, it just makes sense to play him at that position. And then KD at the 4, Joe Harris at the 3, Seth Curry at the 2, Kyrie at the 1. Maybe you do Royce O'Neal at small forward instead of Joe Harris just for the sake of having more of a balanced lineup and more defense out there. And Royce O'Neal is still a pretty capable shooter, although he's obviously no Joe Harris. Joe Harris, by the way, a player that I think so many people have unjustifiably dismissed as not that good when he had a one bad playoff series and has been injured since then, and they're like, yeah, he sucks. No, he's one of the best shooters in the league, and I expect him to be very, very good for them next season. Or if he gets shipped somewhere else because they have Seth Curry, and that is a little bit redundant. But to me, I'm also like, why would you not have two of the best shooters in the NBA on the floor at the same time? It tends to result in good things. But either way, that starting lineup, it makes the most sense to me, even if, like, hypothetically, you could have Nick Claxton out there with Ben Simmons and have better rim protection. I think the defensive sacrifice and the Ben sometimes not being ideal at center thing is worth the offensive benefits of it. And I think Ben as a roll man with no other big in the paint with 4 shooters on the perimeter, the Draymond Green role that people have talked about him playing forever now, me among them, me honestly most prevalent among them, I do believe that Ben Simmons at center would actually work quite well, especially offensively. And then defensively, his instincts as a rim protector are not phenomenal, and there are definitely some people that will be able to out-physical him. One argument I will not entertain is, like, how is he going to defend Joel Embiid? How's Nick Claxton going to defend Joel Embiid? How is anybody on the Brooklyn Nets roster going to defend Joel Embiid? That is irrelevant to Ben Simmons. The alternative is not better. So that's pointless. And I've seen the same shit argued about other players before. And ironically, speaking of him, Chet Holmgren, like, talking about him and, like, his physicality in the NBA. They're like, well, if you play him at center, he's going to get crushed by Embiid. And it's like, yeah, Embiid crushes everyone. Embiid, he scores on every. There are only a select few players in the league capable of stopping someone like him, capable of stopping someone like Giannis, capable of stopping someone like Nikola Jokic. Doesn't mean you get a pass for having no answer, but at the same time, it's not like it's a criticism that throws the whole idea out there. Like, it's not like because Ben can't guard Embiid, well, fuck it, never play him at center then. Because when they play the 28 other NBA teams, Embiid's not there. When they play the 27 other teams that don't have Embiid and Jokic. Also, I'm perfectly confident he could defend someone like Bam, someone like Rudy Gobert. So there's that. Either way, this video is too long, and it's 15 minutes, and people are going to think I talked about Patrick Beverly alone for 15 minutes just by the title. I talked about multiple things, but yeah, anyways, that is it. Goodbye.